You're listening to the Paul Higgins podcast, where SaaS consulting partners scale beyond six figures. No inconsistent referrals, no small deals, no getting stuck in delivery, just proven strategies and real experiences to help you build a seven-figure business that runs without you. Ready to break the ceiling? Let's dive in. If you're stuck sending cold messages manually or frustrated because your LinkedIn automation stops once you've got a reply, you're going to love today's episode. Hello, I'm Paul, and welcome to the Paul Higgins podcast, episode 607. And I know this intro and outro is a little different if you're watching it on YouTube, because I did record the first part of it, the main interview, in my my other studio. But today's conversation, you're going to learn three critical things. One is why most LinkedIn outbound tools fall short, and how LinkyBot keeps conversations going after someone replies and going without you being there. Two is how to train AI to sound like you, your brand tone, your frequently asked questions, your style, without putting your reputation at risk. And I know because I've done it. And the third is the real value in AI in outreach. Hint, it's not about replacing you. It's about getting to the reply faster so you can close more deals. And today's guest is Casey O'Toole. He is an innovative leader in the tech consulting space, specializing in SaaS partnerships and digital strategy. As the driving force behind Linky.ai, I should say. So it's LINKYBOT.ai. All of it will be in the show notes. But Casey empowers businesses to leverage AI-driven solutions for streamlined operations and enhanced client engagement. What he really does is get you bigger deals. With a passion for bridging technology and business growth, Casey's insights are a game changer for agencies and SaaS consulting partners alike, looking to stay ahead in this rapid evolving landscape. If you want to see Casey in action, check out the full episode on YouTube, Paul Higgins Mentoring. And what we'll do now is jump into the conversation with Casey O'Toole from LinkyBot.ai. Fantastic to have you on the podcast, Casey.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we've been working together for a while now, and which has been fantastic for my end. And also, I know you've been working with some of my clients, but thought we'd get on and share about how you're delivering this more deals, less drama through AI-driven outreach. And just quickly, for your context, I found Casey through watching some training that he had online. And, I've used a lot of outreach companies in the past, and also I've had some great outreach companies on. But the thing that really struck me was the, AI-driven outreach. A lot of people talk about it. Digging deeper into what Casey does, I really found a way that I could take one of my team resources out of doing a lot of the manual work they were doing in outreach and get them to do more of the strategy and also work on some other areas. So that's a bit of context as to why Casey's on board, but also on here to share what he does today. But I know I've sort of talked about me, Casey, but who is your ideal client and what problems do you love to solve for them?
Yeah, so my ideal client has kind of evolved in the past couple of years, especially ever since developing this AI component to our outreach strategies. And the past 6 to 8 months, it's been almost laser focused towards SaaS agencies, SaaS partners, tech consultants, and really anybody that's in like the B2B space. So yeah, that's kind of who I'm working with these days, and loving it.
Great. And what are some of the key problems that you help them solve?
Well, a lot of the problems are similar to the problems that most B2B companies have, which if they're within a company size of 1 to about 20, each individual person is wearing a lot of hats. When you're trying to be the head of operations, the head of sales, the CEO, the CFO, every single function within a business, you have very little time for outreach and follow-up and strategy. The problem that we're basically solving is we're giving people their time back. We're letting people work on their business rather than in their business. So if you're spending multiple hours a day on lead generation and lead outreach and lead follow-up, We completely eliminate that for you. So we will do all that for you. All you have to do is take the calls, close the deals, and implement.
Yeah, great. And look, one of the reasons that I reached out to you is that I see that all the time when clients first come in. There's normally two key things. One is what you just articulated, that they're just so busy that they don't get a chance to do any outreach. So it's sort of famine to feast. They've either got too many deals and they don't know how to deliver them, or they've delivered all the work and now they don't have the deals. And it's just so frustrating with their cash flow, and it's hard to have a team when your revenue keeps bouncing up and down. So I think that's one. And then the other is the people that are doing it, but that's at the opportunity cost of other things. And that's typically the marketing top of funnel, right? Because outreach is one component of getting more clients. But ideally, you'd love people to come to you and they'd already like, know, and trust you, so that the outreach is really the icing on the cake. It's not the whole cake itself. And I find what happens is people get stuck in the admin and they're doing the messages and all of that themselves, and they don't get the chance to actually work on the marketing funnel. So there's sort of the two key things that I see, and why I reached out to you as well. Like as I said, I've had other outreach companies on the podcast before, but just give us a high level view of how it works. How do you work with, whether it be a HubSpot agency or a Salesforce partner or a Zoho partner? How do you work with them?
Many of your listeners are probably familiar with some of the standard LinkedIn automation tools that are currently on the market, whether it's, Expandy, Linked Helper, Duxie, whatever it is. That is, I've run a similar type of service-based company like that for 7 or 8 years, just doing LinkedIn lead generation, particularly focused on my niche at that time was real estate agents. Now, what now separates us is the fact that we have integrated an AI-powered LinkedIn SDR directly within LinkedIn's ecosystem. The conversation doesn't stop when the lead engages, but rather that's when the conversation kind of just begins and the AI assistant takes over, qualifies those leads, and sets the appointments all automatically on behalf of all of our clients.
Great. I know that a lot of people take their messages and they get AI to improve them, or they'll drop a profile into whatever your chosen one is, ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever you're using, improves the messages, drops it back in, and then sort of sends it, right? And based on time zones and other things, some of it's in the right time, and then others, it happens 24 hours, 48 hours later, whatever it is when you get busy. What's the difference between that method, which a lot of people are using, or using Expandy for the rote messages, versus what your platform does?
That's a great question, because that is another distinguishing factor that separates us, is the fact that with all of these like standard automation tools, you can create a series of personalized outreach messages. The caveat is that once that prospect replies to one of those outreach messages, the automation sequence stops for good reason. You don't want it to keep on sending additional messages after you already have the lead engaged.
Yes.
Now, the hard part is the fact that you're not typically on LinkedIn 24/7. And the average user of LinkedIn only logs in about once every week. And so the chances of that LinkedIn lead that you just engaged with, or your system engaged with, and you being on LinkedIn at the same time is pretty, dismal. So what AI is able to do is it is able to capture and engage with that lead while they're actively using LinkedIn. So the automation initiates the outreach message, and then no matter what time that lead responds back to you or back to the system, the AI captures that information, generates a custom message, and sends it back into LinkedIn all automatically. So there's no lead left behind.
Brilliant, brilliant. And, we all know the value of timing. It's a bit like, I don't know the exact stats, but you often hear when someone hits a website, if you can respond to them in the first, hour, you got a significant higher chance of gaining that client than if it's post that. And I think in today's world, we're all trying to Well, we're all making decisions faster and faster, right? So if they've got, four Zoho partners that they've reached out to and you get back first, I think, you certainly, it's up to you not to win the deal, I think, after that. I think that's really important. Now, how does it know me? I know for when I first started working with you, I was like, I get the concept, it all sounds great, but I was very nervous to protect my brand, that it wasn't sending messages out that just were out of context or didn't sound like me, etc. So, how do you start to train it to be more like me?
Yeah, and so thanks to my history of running this LinkedIn lead generations company for, real estate agents, I was very, very much aware at how sensitive people are to their reputation, right? I mean, working with luxury realtors, they didn't want to be reaching out to past clients. They didn't want to tarnish their brand reputation in their local market, etc. I was very aware about how important that is when I was starting to develop the AI side. I guess luckily and unluckily, or it's a double-edged sword, but I'm more of a product person than I am, any other type of thinker. And so I spend 80% of my time really dialing in my AI product because I know how important reputation is to all of our clients. What we've done is we've created a couple kind of custom GPTs that we send all of our clients through that will help generate a snippet of each client's personality, style, and tone. And we also have one for their particular brand style and tone. We feed our each unique AI assistant this snippet of information about each individual client of ours, their brand, and we also can add particular documents into the knowledge base so that it's trained on your exact company FAQs, your TOS, everything that you want the AI to know. And then we kind of put all that together into this pretty comprehensive system instructions so that it is always responding on point, on brand, in your style, and doesn't hallucinate. Don't worry, you're going to be good.
Yeah, yeah. And certainly my experience was that, well, there's two things. One is if I was doing it myself, I don't have the time to do it and I wasn't doing it, right? So I think in some, yes, you want to protect your reputation, but I think progress is better than perfection. So, I think something done closer to me is better than not doing it all. And then the second is that I had someone doing it on my behalf, but they've been working with me for 3 years and had really understood it. But still, I look at some of their messages and they're not exactly the same as me. And if you're sitting here thinking, well, I want to do it all myself, that's fine. It will just stunt your growth. If you want to grow, you've got to stop being the baker and being the owner of bakeries, as Michael Gerber said in E-Myth, you got to like let go to get more growth. I was really impressed by the fact that we trained it and it was definitely replying closer to me. It wasn't perfect, but it got the end outcome. And the end outcome was get people on a call, get people reply and engage with you. That's the key thing, right? You're not going to win the client straight off. It's not going to win the client for you, but it's certainly going to help progress that. And that's all it's got to do. And we certainly, as I learnt the AI journey, I got better at providing the information to get it. And the great thing is, like
Mhm.
you said, it's like, humans have got lots of information going on, and it's very hard to process that sometimes, and it's hard to train someone up to be like you, and they got to remember all it. The AI is much better at it than that. So for me, I think in some cases it's a lower risk training the AI than what it is training a human at sometimes. But that's just my personal experience. Tell us a little bit about the experience that some of your clients, other clients have had with this, because I'm sure everyone's nervous, but yeah, talk us through how you've been able to overcome some of those nerves.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes along with kind of the journey of our previous company, MyLink Solution, where we were doing the lead generation. We were generating all of these leads for our clients, and then they were canceling because they didn't have the time to follow up. One of our kind of, I guess, plugs that we would kind of like plug that hole is we offered an in-house virtual assistant, which I manage. And I'm like, this is our in-house VA. They'll be able to help manage some of your replies. She had probably 20 to 30 different accounts that she was managing at one time. And she didn't have the time, have all 30 clients up open. And she couldn't keep it in her head of like how each one particularly wanted to respond. Each
Yes.
client wanted to respond. So it was just so hard. And lo and behold, a lot of our clients didn't like the fact that she wasn't responding the way they wanted her to. We ended up scrapping that and obviously replacing it with this AI side. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's so much easier to train an AI based on your personality style and tone and your knowledge base and everything else that you have than it is training an actual person. And yeah, it's been working out fantastic. In fact, I had a call yesterday with a client who was really impressed, and he gave me a testimonial based on the fact that how similar it was replying to these leads as if it was him. He was very happy with it. So yeah, I've spent time on this, and I really take care of that personalization aspect.
Right. And I'm assuming this is all happening within their inbox, other than, going and looking at each of the messages that are happening within the inbox. How else do people get visibility to how it's responding so that they can, have some peace of mind that it's right, or work with you to adjust it to get it closer?
Yeah, so before we launch any campaigns, we always send over like a templated script that we use for the outreach messages. Clients are encouraged to review those outreach messages and kind of customize them to the way they like to write those. And then we also provide an outline of the AI assistant instructions, which includes kind of conversation examples. And so they can, edit how they would like the AI to respond given a certain circumstance if they want. So those are all the things that they can work on before we launch. Now, after we launch, they can either review the messages on LinkedIn, Sales Navigator's in-mail inbox. We also have a spreadsheet that we can send all of our clients that has a column LinkedIn conversation history, and you can like review the conversation history for each individual prospect that you've generated on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I know well, certainly from my experience, there's still a little bit of work in, archiving messages and sort of managing the inbox. My understanding that the AI doesn't do that. That's still something that you have to do from your own perspective. Have I got that right?
Everything within LinkedIn, other than the messaging component, would have to be done manually. So if you wanted to like star a message or archive a message, but what we do to kind of like get around that is we have the ability to basically push all of the leads that are coming into LinkedIn automatically into your own personal CRM. So whether you're using HubSpot, Go High Level, Zoho, whatever it might be, we
Yes.
can push all these leads and the conversations into your CRM. And there is where you can like set up conditions and tags and filters and do all like the formatting that you would want to do to set up the funnels correctly.
Yeah, great. And we've sort of talked about it, but just, where do you stop from the AI perspective, and where does the client start?
Basically, our AI is triggered on a lead response. So even if the lead says, not interested now, but thank you, it responded. So the AI will then generate a response that fits within the context and send it back into LinkedIn. The AI will not respond any further unless the lead responds back, right? So it's triggered on the lead response. Now, if our clients want to do like a manual takeover or like a manual override, we always offer the option to include like a trigger word, which is typically like, your name. So Paul. So because like our AI won't generate your name in a message. And so that if you manually input Paul into an outbound message within LinkedIn, it will then indicate to our system to stop the bot, and then manual override will then ensue.
Great, great. And from my experience, it's still up to me to do this the sales funnel. The AI basically gets it to either a call or a replied conversation, and then you take over from there. It's, yes, you said at the start that it's a SDR. It is an SDR, right? It does the top to get the conversation, but then you take over from there, and that's where it's sort of working. And what about security? So I know, LinkedIn, I think they changed some of the security protocols, or more it used to be people that would manually do that. Now they've got AI themselves that are doing it. And some people have
Mhm.
got, and, I personally got message, we believe you might be using or infringement of LinkedIn rights. or they're, I forget exactly the terms that it said, but it said basically, just do you comply with them? Press comply, right? And I know that I got a bit nervous and reached out to you and said, "Hey, is this a security risk, etc." But how do you make sure that the account is secure? Because I know with AI, people, some people, and you might be out there thinking, is this going to put any harm, not just to my reputation, but to the health of my LinkedIn account itself?
That's probably the number one question we get. Just to throw this out there first and foremost, we've had over 1,500 clients, and not a single one has been permanently restricted from LinkedIn. We take extra precautionary measures to make sure that our clients' accounts stay safe. Um, First and foremost, we require all of our clients to have LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Before we start any automation, we make sure that their profiles is mature, it looks good, and most importantly, it's verified through LinkedIn's persona verification process. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator, verified, and then also the targeting and the scripting are extremely important. So if you were to send out 2,000 outreach messages a month and you go right for a sale with a link in the immediate follow-up message, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to, mark you as spam or say, I don't know you, or they're not going to really take that too kindly. With AI, it's actually even better because we are able to change our strategy with how we approach them. Rather than having to include our entire value proposition message in the initial follow-up message, we just ask a simple, poignant, open-ended question about a particular niche's problems that they might be going through or challenges. And then in the back of our head or in the AI's brain, the solution that our clients provide will be able to help solve those challenges that they're having. So rather than saying, here's a link, schedule a call with me, we go, hey, how is AI impacting your operations over at this company? And so when you keep it more conversational and human-like with AI, the chances of your account getting restricted go down significantly.
Yeah, and I'll get, and I'm sure you get as well, inbound messages all the time pitching you something, and normally people put everything in the one message, right? It's like connect, and then it's like a big spray. And from my personal experience using I always recommend that you break it into conversations, right? It's just like meeting someone at a coffee shop, go straight to selling your product straight away or whatever the end outcome of the conversation is. And the AI allows you to do that. So I think that's great. Also, I know, there was other protocols that you put in place to do it. What about the communication? Tell us a little bit about how do you keep the client updated with the progress of the campaigns? What sort of scorecards you've got? Like, how do I know that this is progressing in the way that I want it?
Yeah, so in terms of communications, we always schedule a launch call and then a 2-week follow-up call. After we initially launch the campaign, we get the sign off on the outreach scripts, everything's ready to go, we launch. Then 2 weeks later, we like to review all the campaigns and see how they're going, see if we need to tweak anything, whether it's a tweaking on the outreach message or even like turning off one campaign because the results aren't so good compared to the other one. We can kind of like A/B split test. But that second call is how we really dial in and fine tune the campaigns. And then if there's any sort of additional tweaks or strategy you want to go through, if it's minor tweaks, you can just schedule a call with our team. If it's more of like a strategy related question, like, hey, I'm considering a different offer or I'm considering a different audience. What do you think? Then you can schedule a call with me and I'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, and I think the great combination I found working with Casey is that, as you can tell, he's very personable. He wants to really get you a result, but you're also leveraging the power of AI. So it was a nice combination, a wrapped combination of those two things. That's what's really stood out to us because often it's, one or the other. It's all conversational and it's all nice, but it doesn't have any science to it. Or it's, complete, this is AI and you sign up and you don't hear from us ever again. So I think the service wrapped those up well. As far as, how people could work with you, what are sort of the different ways? Is it a do it yourself, DIY, or is it done with you? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so that's an evolving process, but as it stands, we offer basically two types of packages. One is our done for you package. The other is a done with you. The done for you package is where all you want to do is fill out a form, and then me and my team will work through all of the answers from your responses, and we would then personally build out your outreach campaigns, the AI assistant. We would make all the integrations into your CRM. We would do all the work, and then all you have to do is sit back and take the appointments. So that's the done for you package. And then the done with you package is slightly different. It's for those that are a little bit more tech savvy, who may have a little bit more time on their hands. They may want to offer this as a potential service or a solution to their clients. But the done with you package is where I will be effectively teaching you how to do what I've done and be able so that you'll be able to then manage it within the safety and security of your own specific account. So then you can be finding your target audience on Sales Navigator. You can be creating the different campaign scripts. You can be managing it. You can be syncing accounts. You can do whatever you want. But I've done this for 7 or 8 years now, just on the LinkedIn automation side. So being able to work with someone like me to help you throughout this process would very beneficial because it's simple but not easy.
Yeah, yeah. And the other benefit, I think, of Casey's background, and as he said before, that he's sort of a product guy, is that he really understands technology. And I think, for you with some of your clients, if you do want your clients to have the service, he sort of understands how sales CRMs work, how integrations work. That certainly helps with that. Whereas my experience with some other outreach people is they don't sort of understand that. They sort of focus on the messaging, which is good, but then all where the rubber hits the road with the integrations with the systems and making it easy for salespeople to then to follow up, that sort of falls over. And that was another benefit I saw of Casey. Just a reminder that we're listening to Casey O'Toole, episode 607, and we'll have all the links in the show notes so that you find out more directly with Casey. But what we're going to do is just pause for a moment, thank our sponsors, and then we're going to come back to the rapid fire. Running a SaaS consulting business can feel like a never-ending grind, hunting for clients, pricing your service, and delivering non-stop. But what if you had a proven system to unlock bigger deals and scale without being trapped in delivery? That's exactly what I break down in my free 3-system training. 1, the high-paying client engine, a lead gen system that attracts high-value clients on autopilot, so you'll never chasing low-quality deals again. 2, the 50K customer lifetime value blueprint, CLV. How to position and price your solutions for high-value engagements without turning into a pushy salesperson. And 3, the scale without you framework. The simple steps to reduce owner dependency, offload daily tasks, and escape the daily trap. The Scale Without You framework. The simple steps to reduce owner dependency, offload daily tasks, and escape the delivery trap. These are the exact strategies I've used with top SaaS consultants to land bigger deals and scale past 7 figures. If you want bigger deals, better clients, and more freedom, grab the training now at paulhigginsmentoring.com/deals. That's paulhigginsmentoring.com/deals. Watch it today and start making bigger moves in your business. So, Casey, you ready for the rapid fire?
I'm ready.
All right,
Bring it
great.
on.
So, what are some of the daily habits that help you to scale LinkyBot.ai?
I guess the first thing is I wake up at 4 in the morning, and I typically start off my morning with my Wim Hof breathing is one thing that kind of gets me narrowly focused and on working on projects.
Fantastic. And I think living where you live might make that a bit easier than in sort of the cold of winter. Where do you go to find out more about your art, about lead generation, getting people more clients?
Linkybot.ai is our website. We have a school community. If you just search for LinkedIn AI Mastery Lab within school, you can find us there. Find me on LinkedIn. Make sure you mention that you found me on the podcast, because I don't always accept everyone who just sends me a generic LinkedIn request. So mention that. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So I'm around.
Great. And what about for you? Where do you find more information about lead gen?
where do I find more information about lead gen?
Yeah.
I subscribe to certain newsletters that kind of, Seth Godin, Neil Patel, Alex Hormozy. I follow a lot of kind of marketing influencers that pretty continuously provide me with almost too much information because my ADD is like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to do that. But yeah, I subscribe to a bunch of newsletters primarily.
Great. And if I could grant you one wish for Linky Bot, what would that be?
I would want that to be a general adopting of AI from LinkedIn's point of view, from LinkedIn's standpoint. So LinkedIn goes, great. I like that you have AI going on here, and I want you to do it all you want.
Fantastic. And the last one is, what do you know now about using AI for outreach that you wish you had known earlier?
I would say I wish I would have known how to kind of include the limiting parameters within the AI because when I first launched it, yeah, I kind of was like the Wild West where it said I was able to do things that I wasn't able to do and provide information that was not factual about our company, etc. But now I've learned a lot better on how to hone it in and dial it in. And I wish I had known that earlier because it's really helpful.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, certainly that's been my experience. It's been the experience of some of the clients. So if you want to reach out to Casey, it's linkybot.ai. We'll also have in the show notes a link to have your free discovery call with him. And in that, you can also, find out a bit more about the process and how it works with a training video that he'll have with that link, but also on his site. So, look, Casey, it's been wonderful working with you, and thanks for coming on and sharing the possibilities of effectively more deals, less drama, and using AI to drive outreach for people that are listening today. So, thanks for coming on.
Happy to be here, Paul. I appreciate you having me on. Love it.
Great interview with Casey. And as I said, I've used his service, so I know it firsthand. But if you're really stuck doing manual outreach and you rely on clunky tools that drop off after the first reply, well, this is going to really help you. And Casey's platform, Linky Bot, gives you an AI assistant that sounds like you, works 24/7 inside your business, which is what I really loved, and actually books real conversations. So you can focus on closing more deals, not just chasing cold leads, which we all want. If you want to find out more, go to linkybot.ai and check it out for yourself. The link will also be in the show notes. And also, don't forget to get access to that bonus training that Casey spoke about. Also, reach out to Casey directly on LinkedIn, thank him, and ask him a question so he can help you better. And also, you can watch the full episode again on Paul Higgins Mentoring YouTube channel. And remember, the intro and outro is going to be a little different to the main interview. Sorry about that. And thanks again for listening to episode 607 of the Paul Higgins podcast. And I'll see you next week. What's one shift you can make from today's episode? Send me a message. I reply to everyone. And if this helped, share it with a SaaS consulting partner ready to scale beyond 6 figures. Because breaking the ceiling starts with one action.